Welcome back to another episode of Put It on the List. This week, we gear up for Halloween. Spooky season is upon us. We watch some scary stuff. And by we, I mean me, because the other guy's a weenie. Why would we watch scary stuff during Halloween? We break down the rings of power. Where are the rings at? We ain't got no rings yet, and it's over. We had some scary stuff to the list. Hopefully, it's not too much for you know who. And we end the show with our 90s scary movie double feature. Let's start the show. Whoa. I'm Francisco, and he has 99 problems, but a concha ain't one. It's Andres.
Well, look who it is. If it isn't the Concha King over here.
Wow.
Let us know how it goes. How goes it, Concha King?
Hey, I don't know. I heard you got some feedback on that.
A little bit. It was not in the positive nature. Apparently, the internet, all three of them, were offended and upset. But luckily, no one cares. So anyways, moving on. But we appreciate the feedback. Thank you, listeners. Even though you guys were all fucking wrong.
Nobody cares, but please keep listening.
Don't give up on us yet.
I know I suck on my takes, but I can't admit it. All right.
Anyways. All right.
We got some news and some tidbits.
Take it away, Concha King.
The Concha King is here. You should get a shirt made that says that's it. Concha King. The creator of The Watchmen. Guess what? Owns The Watchmen. Hey, that's on brand, I think.
Well, he disowns the show, I think. The new HBO, the latest HBO show. That won like 11 Emmys. He's like, what is this crap? Like, homie. Like, I don't understand. Like, this dude's a writer. He's creative. He's an artist, in his own way. But is he also like one of the surliest, angriest dudes ever? Like, this guy, has he ever eaten a meal that he is like not hated? I don't understand this guy. Explain Alan Moore to some of the folks and his take on his work.
I think he's the type of guy that when he creates something, he doesn't want anybody else to touch it. He's created it and he's had final edit, and that's it. Nobody can touch it. Nobody redo it. Nobody interpret it. It's just the way it is. And I think that's how he is because, I mean, granted, not everybody does loyal or faithful adaptations to original works, but that's the business, bro. That's the business. Don't sign off on it. Don't get paid. It's not like he didn't get money for it, It's not
like he didn't cash the fucking checks.
Yeah. So, but it's just funny, dude. Like it happens with everything. Like with books. I mean, famously, Stephen King hates The Shining, and but it's one of the most beloved Stephen King movies. So, it's part of the game, I think.
Yeah, overall. I mean, as an artist, once it leaves your hands, and that's kind of it. People are going to like read Harry Potter and they're going to envision whatever they want to envision. And then the screenwriter is going to get it and envision his story. And then the director is going to get it. He's going to envision his story. So it's just going to be like, once it's out there, it's out there.
Yeah. And personally, I enjoyed the show way more than the movie. I think it was so well done. And it's
10 times over.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen The Watchmen, folks, on HBO, it's awesome. Like, it's so good. We watched it all twice, but go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say that personally, I think the book is overrated, but that's just me. Like, it has some cool stuff, but it's like, dude, it's so dense. You're like, it's a mission, dude, to get through that.
I struggled trying to finish The Watchmen. Everyone's like, oh, it's one of the best comics ever. I'm like, okay. Struggled. It's cool. It's worth watching for like that historical thing, but like all of Alan Moore's stuff is a bit of a struggle. And and then they made it into a nice bite-sized appetizing meal that is not a struggle, that's like super enjoyable, and this guy's complaining. Anyways, let's move on from Alan Moore. He's an angry dude. I get it, but moving on.
Moving on, we got a bit of a surprise. A Twister sequel is looking for a director. Twister, much beloved.
Dude, it's crazy. Like, sure, I mean, there's gonna always tornadoes every year, so you can make a movie every year if you want to have a freaking tornado. But this movie is like, I think the biggest shadow over this thing is Bill Paxton, and how do you move forward with a Twister without Bill Paxton? I guess they're saying like the story focuses on like him, he has a son or a daughter who's supposed to be the focus of this next film. Yeah. And Steven Spielberg seems very, I guess a script was written that he got really excited about, and they want to fast track it and make it like immediately. And so they're looking for a director. What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, you're right about, you're always going to think of Bill Paxton in this movie because even though he's beloved, he was always kind of a side character and a great character actor. So him having his own film and being such a great film kind of stands out. Yeah, without Bill Paxton, who's gonna, he's gonna have to, whoever the person is, boy or girl, female or male, is gonna have to carry a movie, and you're always gonna be like, oh, Bill Paxton this, Bill Paxton that, because in every movie he did, he had like at least one line or a scene that he stole the show.
Yeah,
he kind of stole the scene. Yeah. You can go down the list and be like, oh yeah, man, I remember I was crying in True Lies. Yeah. When he was great in that. And people sometimes they don't recognize him because of the mustache. But anyways, I mean, I look forward to it. I'm sure like the special effects are going to be crazier now, than what they were back then, when the cow flying through the
that was a big deal. Stuff. That was a big deal.
Yeah, that was a big deal. And but now it's going to be even crazier, I think. So
I hope it's not. I hope it's not just relying over on visual effects, because that's kind of going to be everyone has that now. You got to have you got to have a good story and good characters to really care. Especially, man, if they just make it just to like destroy stuff and it doesn't have like the charm of the original Twister film with that whole cast of, the whole cast of characters running around. That was like a little circus of like amazing actors all having a great time, and you were having a great time with them the whole freaking time.
Yeah, it was like their own little insular family.
Yeah, it was great. And there's so many little things that made that movie just so likable and just enjoyable. And there wasn't really a huge story to it. They were just trying to get the readings on the Twister. You know what I'm saying? Like they were like trying to solve some great mystery, and it was just fun. So I hope they capture the spirit of of the original Twister and just make it fun with the great cast of characters.
Yeah,
man.
All right, I'm like you're talking and I'm picturing all the stuff in my head. I'm like, oh man, that is such a good film, dude. I'm like thinking, oh, and then like the bad guys in the brand new SUVs. I'm like, that was so funny.
Cary Elwes. Oh, man. Yeah, Wesley himself from Princess Bride. So good. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, moving on. We got Adam Driver, rumors, Fantastic Four. I just want to say that who wouldn't want to put Adam Driver in a movie? And this guy's being casted in everything. So take it with a grain of salt.
It's just a rumor, but it's the same rumor from the place that said that Harrison Ford was going to join the MCU, and that turned out to be true. So that these guys kind of seem to know what they're talking about. But Adam Driver as Richard Reed, I don't know, man.
I'd rather see him as Dr. Doom.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think that's a really cool one. But although, does he have the stigma of playing the bad guy in the latest Star Wars trilogy? Like he's going to be a big villain, masked villain. Go from Star Wars to a masked villain in the MCU. It's not that far off from like a Darth Vader-y character. So it's a little I don't want to see him in either Reed Richard or Doctor Doom. But if you'd had to do one, Doctor Doom, sure. Yeah. I still think Henry Cavill would be badass as Doctor Doom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
did you hear the little tidbit? The spoiler.
Uh-oh.
Should I?
Are we going to talk about Shazam?
15 seconds. Fast forward. Spoiler.
All right, go ahead, real quick.
Black Adam.
Yeah.
Black Adam.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
I heard about it a couple days ago, and I don't think it was a huge surprise, but I don't know how much he's in it. But also, here's the other spoiler. That shit is like at 45% on Rotten Tomatoes. That is like Michael Bay territory. Like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm guessing it's not a good thing.
Yeah, but the audience score is like super high.
Really?
And the audience scores are like a 90.
Well, shit, I'm excited to check it out. It's The Rock. I'll watch him. Like, fly and punch buildings. Cool. I'm there.
Yeah.
Getting out of spoiler territory. Let's get into some stuff that we watched. What do you say?
Sounds good. All right. In honor of being spooky season and and Halloween time, all that fun stuff, I watched some things, man. I watched some things with the family and some things by myself. We watched Halloween Ends, which is the end of the Halloween trilogy by I always mess up his name. David Gordon Green, I think is his name.
Yeah, I think it's about right.
And it follows the Strode, the girl's, what's his name? You're not gonna know her name. You don't watch the movies.
No.
Jamie Lee Curtis's characters. Oh,
there you go.
Emily Strode. I know it's Strode, but I can't remember
her
first name. Her first name.
Halloween ends.
Halloween ends. It ended badly. Not a fan. Not a fan. It's one, like, for me, like, I haven't seen the 13 Halloween movies. I haven't seen all 13. I've seen like 8.
There's 13?
Yeah, there's 13.
I've seen at least 2 of them. I've seen at least 2 of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, anyways, this trilogy overall is pretty good, except for this, and
so 2 out of 3.
This is the worst Halloween movie I think I've seen. But anyways, just because it didn't make sense, and it wasn't a Halloween movie. But anyways, moving on Hulu, there's this found footage movie. It's called Dash Cam, which really kind of was a surprise. It came out of nowhere. Last year, this guy, I can't remember his name, but he did a small film called Host, and it was like a scary short film about Zoom videos and a horror thing, and it worked out in technology. But this one is about a female live stream freestyle rapper that drives while she live streams, and she freestyles. Like, people send their words and she freestyles on the word while she's driving. Anyways, that's the gimmick. And that's why the camera's on the whole time. But she plays like this right-wing nut, one of those persons. And then a bunch of stuff starts happening to her, and she's recording it. And she's being funny and annoying at the same time as things are happening to her. So you kind of want her to die the whole time. But,
okay.
But so it's interesting, like you kind of want the evil powers to win, but anyways, there's a fun take on that. So Dash Cam on Hulu. If you
is this a feature film?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and it's so funny. There's one, like, the comments are going up on the screen, like normally, like when you live stream, and somebody says, oh, there's someone behind you. And she says, yeah, your dad with his micro penis that just pulled it out of my ass. Oh my goodness. So she has a bunch of quick one-liners like that. And she's anyways, Dash Cam on Hulu. It's okay.
Is it good enough?
And next thing, good enough.
So it's middle of the list.
Scares. Yeah, middle of the list. Yeah. Don't go watch it right now. I'm just, if you can't find anything to watch and you want to give something a chance, give this a chance. All right. Next thing on Netflix that just premiered yesterday, which was Friday the 21st. 28 Days Haunted on Netflix. And that's a reality paranormal hunter TV show where, like, they send these groups of people to stay in these haunted locations for 28 days straight, and you kind of like see how it affects them throughout the thing. There's like psychics, and if you like paranormal investigation shows, this is a pretty good show. Recommend it.
So it's a show, not a movie.
Yeah, this is a show. Yeah, it's 6 episodes, and yeah, they go through it. You know, they're like, "Did you hear that?" You know, that kind of thing.
And this is what streaming platform is it on?
Netflix. And they spent some money on it because I was like,
okay,
ooh, because I watched some of those other shows and it's like, wow, this is a shoestring budget right here. But they spent some money on it, and it was pretty cool. 28 Days Haunted on Netflix. So that's the scary stuff we got for you kids.
Cool.
Next up, we
not scary.
Not scary at all, but accents. You want some accents? We got some accents right here. Derry Girls, season 3.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be... Yeah.
I was just going to say, I know this is a household favorite for you guys.
Yeah. I don't remember how we came across the first 2 seasons. It's on Netflix. And it's from, I think, the BBC, but it's produced out of Ireland. So it's a show about these 4 Irish girls. Like, they're like in high school. And it takes place in the mid-90s. So it's like, faraway land, a long time ago. And it's like these girls just trying to get through like the day. And it's a comedy, but it's got like a lot of heart. And you don't realize that the heart's there till like they'll just pull the rug out from underneath you. And you're just like, what? And the first 2 seasons are fantastic. And they just dropped the 3rd season after like a really long hiatus, probably like 2 or 3 years. And they finally put in production, and there we go. But man, it's a great show. And it took us like 1 or 2 episodes of the first season to really get into it, to really understand what they're trying to do. And I think this is one of the OG put the subtitles on, because it is not just hard to understand what they're saying, but to understand, once you understand what they're saying, you're like, what does that mean? And you got to watch a couple episodes to realize like, oh, this word means this word means that. And you feel kind of like you're learning a new culture. And it's hilarious. Like there's a couple sayings that they use that we've adopted over the years in our household, where we just talk shit to each other. And man, I can't recommend the show enough. It's a very different show. It's not like a sad show, nothing too heavy, but it's fucking hilarious. And you kind of like hate some of the things that they do, and they're like a little cringy because they're these girls just trying to get through the day and try to be cool in high school. And they don't want to upset people, but they want to be cool. And they're upsetting like everybody the whole time because they don't know what they're doing in high school. No one knows what they're doing, and they don't know who they are. And they're just kind of like talking shit to each other. And they're trying to like be like, do like the cool Americans do. Say motherfucker all the time. And like, it's shit like that. It's like constant. And it's so funny because there's a scene that opens up. I'll just tell you, this girl, like the first opening scene is, I just watched this American movie. It's cracker. It's called Pulp Fiction. They say motherfucker all the time. That's all you say. That's how you do it. That's how you know what I mean? So like that's what you're getting into. And it's so fun to watch like this 90s culture, American culture, them trying to adopt it to like this Irish way in this small Irish town. And it's also against the backdrop of the IRA bombings. And it's like towards the end of that. And it gets a little political in the end of season 2 and a fair amount of season 3. But I'm going to review season 3 for a second, and just overall, there's not a lot to spoil. It's just like a fun show where things just happen, and most of the episodes are not really related to each other. It's like a sitcom-y kind of thing, but it's shot like a film. But the 3rd season does not have the charm as the first 2 seasons, just to let you know what you're getting into. Like if you loved the first 2 seasons, you'll probably just like the 3rd season enough, and there's some weird stuff in the last 2 episodes. You're like, all right, whatever. And I didn't think they stuck the landing, because you kind of like got used to these people over the years, and you're like, you want to know how it's going to end and happily. And they don't really say much. It just kind of ends. But it ends nice, it's a nice little warm hug, but it's not like where it could have landed. And the very last scene's a little awkward, but like, all right, that's kind of different. But overall, if you want to watch something totally different and just totally, it's funny. Once you start to understand the characters, it's hilarious. In terms of subtitles, and see if you what terms you start to adopt in your own household, like cracker. And God, what else do they say? There's so many things. Just such a Dick James. Like, it's just funny, man. And definitely check out the Derry Girls on Netflix for something totally different. All right, what else we got? Are you gonna watch it at some point? Let me ask you that. Do you have any plans to watch it?
I've watched some of it. I watched like the first season, I think.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's definitely not for everybody.
I do agree that it has heart and it is funny. I just don't see the show, like, for me personally.
Yeah.
Moving in a direction where it makes me like, oh, it was worth it, kind of. You know what I'm saying, like that.
Yeah.
And
it's definitely, it's not going to add to you in any way. It's just like it's like a different flavor to add to, like, if you want a little something different.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, it was funny. I laughed a few times. And that was the first season, and the seasons aren't long, so it's like, like you get through it pretty quickly.
No, yeah, it's an easy watch, and it's a like random adventure of the week kind of thing. But yeah, it's fun. All right, moving on to the biggie. What's the biggie?
All right, man, the Rings of Power. We finally watched all the season, and we're gonna have some spoilers.
Yeah, we're gonna do an overall impressions, and then we're gonna get into spoilers, folks. So you could listen to a little bit and then fast forward.
Okay. So overall,
far away, dude. Yeah.
Overall, I liked it, man. The production value was there. The acting was there. All the imagery, the sound, the music, the score was amazing. Story wise, like, there was lows, definitely lows, and some slow parts, and some things that I felt like we didn't need, and then some things that I felt that left me wanting more. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good to great show. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking forward to it, and yeah, overall impression is like, it's dope, and we'll move on. What about you?
Cool. Very similar. I think going in, I kind of wonder, did I like it more because my overall enthusiasm was pretty low to begin with? I thought it was gonna be like a cheap money grab, but like in the first 5 minutes of the first episode, I was like, holy shit, this is no joke. Like, it was gorgeous. They spent money, they put time and thought into it. Like, it was like 10 times more than I expected. I was like blown away. Like, dude, this is like, settle in. Here we go. Yeah. And totally agree with you. The pacing was not the best at times. The writing was always pretty solid. I think because it was, 8 episodes, they kind of strung out some of the stories way longer than needed to.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I have to justify the runtime. But overall, it was like so much better than I was expecting. And I super, super dug it. And I just think the pacing needs to be improved. And there's some storylines that kind of just dangled out there forever. Yeah. But overall, I'm so looking forward to the second season, and we'll get into our thoughts and predictions for a second season at the end.
Yeah.
So should we get into spoilers now?
Fuck yeah, bro! Come on, stop playing.
All right. What are your low? So here we go. Spoilers. 3, 2, 1. You've been warned. What are your lowlights?
My lowlights. The fucking Hobbit people. All of that shit. Why do we have to have it for 8 episodes? Like, the best episodes was when they were missing. And I'm like, the guy they introduced as the wizard at the end, when they did the final reveal, man, they could introduce them halfway through the season, and that way we wouldn't have to, like, care about it like the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like, just have him show up at episode 4 or 5, and then be like, and then start that storyline with those people, you know?
Or they could have had him show up in the beginning to kind of keep you interested, but not show him up for another 2 or more episodes, 2 or 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that
I don't know. So that was my low light. And then a little bit too of when they were on the island, the ship island. What was that name? Nuramore?
Nirmia? I don't know. Let's call it Narnia.
Nuramore. Bro, you're worse at names than I am. Nuramore. And where the king was dying up in the thing, and the daughter, like, all of that was a bunch of blah 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 blah, like, yada yada yada. I'm like, dude, like, what's going on? Are we going or are we not going? Let's go the fuck out of here. So yeah, and then another low point where, like, fucking, we gotta wait to the last 3 seconds to see some fucking rings and the fucking ring show. Come on, the fuck.
That's the thing that kind of got me. Remember last week, I was like, are they going to show some rings on a show called Rings of Power? They literally waited to like right before the credits rolled. They put the rings. I'm like, oh, okay. But the crazy shit
was even the rings we want.
No, I was so I didn't know. So I'm not a huge Tolkien person, so I'm not sure. I'm sure some people out there are like, oh my god. So what I had to do, literally after the show ended, I went and grabbed the Blu-ray for Fellowship in the Ring and put it in because I'm like, I want to understand this a little bit more, and I'm trying to understand the timeline a little bit more. So I put it in, and those exact rings show up in the beginning of Fellowship. Those exact rings. I'm like, oh. So they kind of break down 3 rings for the elves, 7 rings for the humans.
10,
yeah.
I remember that.
But I think that little montage is probably across several seasons of this one show. You know what I mean? Like, where was Wings coming from?
No, well, I heard somewhere where that little montage is basically the entire show. They're just kind of like fucking spreading it out.
That works for me.
You like all the detail.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay. Also, I didn't quite understand. The elves had like their lands were dying, and they needed this metal to help bring things back to life. But instead of like, so they put it in the form of a ring. Like, what are they gonna do? Just walk around with the rings touching the plants? Like, I didn't understand the plan there. I hope they kind of explain it more.
For me, I thought that metal is what they used to make that the armor vest that they wear that they give Frodo and stuff. And
maybe that comes later.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's why they need it to mine it so all the elves can wear it so it protects them. I mean, that's pretty basic, but that's what I thought.
We also had to do the math. Like, we were watching the intro to, again, Fellowship of the Ring. So I'm like, what is the timeline again with this? And then we were counting. It was like, for 500 years, this thing was lost. And then for another 200 years, it was over here. And then for another 60 years, it was there. I'm like, oh shit, this is at least like 1,000 years before the Lord of the Rings. I'm like, okay, now I understand like who's who and what's where, because I couldn't figure out the fucking timeline.
Yeah.
So I think
it's like the second age or the first age. I think every age is like 1,000 years. But yeah. So those are my lows. My highs, man, that first episode, just like the way it grabs you, dude. And you just like thrown back like, God damn, this is TV? This is TV? You couldn't believe it. Yeah. And then all the battle scenes were pretty standout. You know, they were cool. And episode 7 or 6, when she wakes up and it's all red after the volcano explodes.
Yeah.
That whole sequence was amazing. And I gotta say, as far as characters and character development, Elrond and the dwarf, what's his name? Dormir? Prince Dormir?
Yeah, man, something like that.
I love those guys, dude. Like, they could just make a show on those 2 guys, dude. I just want to see how their interactions. You can kind of tell that they both really care about each other, but they both have like
the dwarf's wife. So good.
Yeah, her too. But between them, like, they both have like an agenda that they can't really expose, and so they're playing like this little cat and mouse game with their friendship, and I enjoyed all of that, and I just wish there was more. And like having to go through the season finale without seeing old boy was kind of tough. I'm like, oh man, we're not gonna say goodbye. And so yeah, definitely that. Those are my highlights.
Yeah, my highlights are definitely the cinematography. Like, it's gorgeous. The whole show is gorgeous. The costumes, the sets, the lighting, everything. Like, the designs. Like, they put so much work into like designing all these different areas, and like everything was so distinct. Like that island, I was like, shit, this is dope. Yeah, they were there for too long, but I was kind of okay with it because it was fucking so pretty to look at all that, the environments and the costumes and everything. It felt like took a deep dive into a different culture, and it was just enjoyable. I was like, all right, we could breathe here for a little bit. I think we were there for too long, but man, it was so cool. And how they showed like what's clearly one of those crazy orb eye things hiding in one of the rooms, and when they pulled the curtain off it and they cut right before you see it, I'm like, oh, that was pretty cool.
See, I wish I had more moments like that. Like, I feel like the show needed more mic drops, you know, like that. You know, like boom, you know.
The pacing could have been better. I think they'll learn. I think they're gonna learn. Hopefully with the second season, they'll keep bringing it. I hope they don't. My concern with the second season is, well, we'll get into that afterwards.
Well, let's just get into it. What else you
got? The challenge, I think, and we'll see how it goes. They moved production from New Zealand for the first season to Ireland for the second season because of Ireland gave them a whole lot of money. They said, "Hey, move your production. We'll bribe you." And they said, "We like money," so they moved it over. So I don't know if like the quality is going to take a hit because they built up all this infrastructure and everything for the first season, and they have to move the entire infrastructure over to like halfway across the fucking planet. You know what I mean? So like, what are they going to lose? They're going to lose like personnel. They're going to lose the sets. They're going to lose like the natural beauty of where they shot at. They're going to lose the vibe and energy, but they have time to figure it out. And hopefully it doesn't affect it too much, but money talks, baby. So we'll see how it goes for the second season. That's my concern for the second season. But what do you want to see in the second season?
I kind of, going back to what I like the most is the relationship between Elrond and Normir or Durmir. Damn, it's one of those. It's either with an N or a D.
Yeah, I think it's an
N. With their relationship, because I'm like, is Elrond going to stab him in the back? Like, is he going to, like, where does the dissension between the dwarves and the elves begin?
Yeah.
And if this is it, and if that's going to be in the second season, then, it's going to be heavy. And I'm like, damn, that's going to be fucked up too. And I hope that we get introduced to more of the men, or, because they all get a ring, right? There's 10 rings for the race. So I'm like, or 9, I can't remember. But, we get more rings. Come on, you got to give me more than 3 fucking rings at the end of the fucking episode, at the end of the season. So I want more rings, and I want to see how that relationship between Elrond and Normir develops. And I really don't care for. Remember at the end where they showed Galadriel on the reflection with Sauron, the lake?
That was so cool. Oh yeah.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see, like, you want them to have a relationship, like a thing, like.
Oh no! I just thought it was a cool visual.
No, it's a cool visual, but I'm like, the way they were standing there was like, oh, are they a thing, or like, because she had some sort of feelings for the man version, right? House Strand or whatever. Yeah. So is that going to be like a point of a blind spot for her? Moving on. I'm like,
that could be interesting.
Sauron. I don't know. I don't want to go in that direction.
Let me ask you in the beginning, like this kind of, I was like, It was kind of cool that literally the first pre-credit scene, those were those little crazy murder elves. I don't know what wizards show up and they see homie and they're like Lord Sauron. And immediately I'm like, shit, that's not Sauron. As soon as they did that, I'm like, okay, here comes the misdirection. And they totally did that, but it worked. And that whole thing with the little dudes coming in, trying to help and save him, and I was like, they're gonna get their asses whooped, but they did really well, and it didn't feel cheeseball. It all totally worked. That whole battle, I'm like, this is cool. And then they did the reveal of one of them being the race. I was like, holy shit, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it was the same. Like, oh man, this is Sauron. I'm like, oh, it's not Sauron. And I particularly felt bad because that's one of the things I called. That I was like, oh, that guy's gonna be Sauron, but no. And I think you kind of called it when he said he gives life, when he was bringing that tree back to life.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like,
how did you?
Other than that, those three wizards or the 3 people in the cloaks, they were kind of weak overall, except for the one. I thought, I'm like, they got kind of their asses handed to them
by the little people. Yeah, but they got the stab. That was cool when he picked up the stab and started doing some shit like Saruman, like spinning him around. I'm like, ooh, like that's a nice little callback. The let me ask you this: the reveal of Sauron. How'd you like that?
I mean, as soon as I knew that it wasn't the wizard, I knew it was him.
I would have liked to have seen it be more like shocking or like, holy shit. They were kind of like slowly building into it. And
Yeah.
like they kept giving him looks and weird things. I'm like, it would have been cool if they just did a 180 all of a sudden, like, by the way, stab, 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 and he like murders like an elf or something. Like, holy shit, you know what I mean? That would have been like impact.
Yeah.
And
And
all
he
of a
was
sudden,
just showing up. He was just showing up like randomly, like, where did he come from? He's just
yeah.
there.
And then and at the very end, he just kind of disappears. Like, where'd he go? And then all of a sudden, it shows him like walking over to Mount Doom. Like, how'd that happen? Like, all right, whatever, just going with it. I
Yeah.
thought he was gonna steal the rings or do something. He didn't do anything. He just kind of took off.
Well,
And that was like, what was his goal? I don't understand his goal. Trying to help them make the rings, and then he is cut out.
well, I think he had to get the ball going because nobody believed Galadriel. So he saved her to keep that seed planted where evil's rising, and so her fear kind of like created the whole thing. So her fear gave
Uh,
him power. Like that's why I interpret it. Like her fear gave him power, and then that just kept growing and growing and growing and growing.
I want to see more about his relationship with the dude who was in charge of the elves, who was or no, the orcs, but he was like an ex elf. Or I want to know what their relationship is because he even says I killed Sauron, and they're doing their own
Yeah,
thing. Now this guy's showing back up to take. I'm very curious. I don't understand what's
yeah,
going on there, and they have to get into it. And the actor, I gotta tell you, the dude that played the main bad guy, elf orc guy,
hmm
I thought he was fantastic.
yeah. I think his name's Rava or Raza or some shit like that.
He was cool.
Yeah,
I like that shit. I thought that was pretty dope.
yeah, me too.
So, what do you want to see in the second season?
I want to see more Elrond and dwarfs. I want to see more dwarfs, man. I
They
want
were
to see
pretty
the
dope.
city. I want to see the city, and I want to see some rapes.
Do you understand the king dwarf shut down the mine? Like, I don't understand that.
What I understood is that it was too dangerous, and the shit kept collapsing, and it kept killing dwarves. So it was unsafe.
Oh,
It was unsafe to mine, and you saw that from them mining it. Now, um, that what's that called? The fire demon thing woke up.
the
Now
Balrog.
he's in. The
Yeah,
Borog woke up. So now they're gonna have to contend with that because he's awake and basically, you know, turn the city into ruins because he's gonna run the shit down there now.
good
And
point.
that's what the king was like afraid of, you know. Maybe
I
he
guess
knew
so. They
that
didn't.
the Borog was down there, but his main thing was like, well, I'm not gonna sacrifice dwarf lives for elf lives.
Yeah, which hard call, but I get it. But yeah, that was fun. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm just hoping they expand everything. They introduce more characters. There's
yeah,
some. They left a lot of threads open, so I'm looking forward to second season. No idea when
yeah,
it's going to air. Hopefully next year. I have no
yeah.
idea. But
It would be nice to see like a big, like swooping shot of like an elf army against an orc army or something. You know, throw it in there.
that'd be fun. They haven't shown any elf armies, so we'll see how it goes. Just little
Yeah,
groups of folks here and there.
yeah,
And shout out to the actress that played Galadriel. She was
uh,
good. I thought she
yeah.
was
She
really
was.
good.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Any final thoughts?
Just looking forward to the next season, and I love how they did it, where they showed the first 3 episodes or two or whatever, and then
Yeah.
one after that. I think
Yeah.
Prime does that really well because that's their
They did with the
plan with.
boys. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's the way to go, you know, because they
Yeah.
give you like a nice full bite size to start
Yeah.
with. And then after that, they kind of like, here you go, here's a little taste till the end. And so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm, you know, just high hopes, high hopes.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. I think it's gonna be pretty damn fun and
Yeah.
shockingly awesome for the most part. Like it was shockingly awesome. All right,
Yeah.
man. Let's move on.
All right, here we go, man. The best part of the show. Did he watch it? Did he watch the trailers? Tell me, did you
Yeah,
watch the trailers? You did.
I
All
did.
right. It's a nice little variety pack of different types of movies. First off, we got Creed 3, and it's
Yeah.
directed by Michael B. Jordan himself.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's his first
Yeah. Directorial
directorial.
debut. Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, dude, you're gonna go with this? I hope you don't mess it up. I for one, I think Creed, the original Creed movie, is either the best or second best Rocky movie. Just throwing it out there. And Creed 2 is good, but it's like mid-level because it's a different director, and like you can tell right away by the shots and the way the story was developed and stuff. But anyways, so I'm really excited for Creed 3. And it's got Jonathan Majors, and he's getting ready to roll out into the Marvel Universe as Kang and wreck some shit. So I'm excited and looking forward to it. What are your thoughts?
I thought the trailer was good. It was a little long. I thought the Jonathan Majors character. I never saw Creed 2. I think the first Creed 1 was great. Like, there's some great scenes in that film, and I really like
Creed
Tessa
2,
Thompson.
Bro.
I don't get around to it. This one looks pretty good, but this has very much. Oh, look at the finger coming out for me. Listeners
I'll
at
get
home,
around
he is
to it.
giving me the bird. Anyways, getting back to what I was saying, Jonathan Majors has some major Clubber Lang vibes in this film. He's a little bit more subdued, but he's got like, I'll kill you. Like once he gets in the ring kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what he does. The other thing that stood out for me, I was like, I don't know if it was the dialogue or the acting, but there was some stuff in the trailer where I thought Michael B. Jordan was just super flat and generic. Like, that's what you're going to go with? You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, his acting was not up to par from the trailer alone. I was like, I don't know about this shit. But, but it looks fun. I think if anything, it'll be a fun boxing film. And if you have Jonathan Majors, I think he's going to bring some really fun, interesting energy throughout the entire thing. And so I think it's going to make it a really watchable film.
Yeah.
Plus, that dude's like mega jacked in this film. Like, holy shit.
He looked like he ate a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
I'm concerned because I don't know if it was during this or maybe like while he was editing or something like that, but Michael B. Jordan went through a really looked like a hurtful breakup. So in his personal life, because I remember like it was all over the news, like on social media or whatever, not the news, but
really?
social media.
Which ones did you follow? You on the Michael B. Jordan Twitter fan page? Oh,
dude, it was all over the place.
I must have missed it.
But anyways, I'm gonna leave you alone. I don't want to mess with you too much.
Good.
But so he broke up, and that day he went to a basketball game, and it's so funny. They took like pictures of him, video of him, and he looked dead inside. Like Michael B. Jordan after a breakup, right here. So why would you go somewhere public after you broke up? But anyways, yeah.
So you think that affected the production and whatnot?
I'm worried. I hope it didn't. But it's kind of hard to divide, personal from professional.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a reason. So he was doing a lot. Dude, he was directing the movie, starring the movie. So it's not like everything went through him, and then having to have a personal life. That can take its toll. So we'll see. And like the other person was a famous person too, but she's do you know who Steve Harvey is? Steve Harvey?
Sure.
His daughter.
I don't know who she is.
Huh. Yeah, well, she's famous for being his daughter,
Oh, it's one of those. Little nepotism. All right.
Yeah. So,
anyways, this film comes out next year, man. Yeah, it's like next year, early next year, something like that.
Yeah. I hope it's good.
Yeah. Me too. All right, what we got next?
Moving on. This is more of a teaser, and I didn't even know this shit was going on. But it was it's called A Christmas Story Christmas. And it's
on
basically Netflix. On Netflix or HBO Max. I think HBO Max.
Was it?
But
anyways.
Yeah, man. Ralphie's back, I guess. 30-something years later. 40-something years later. I don't know.
At least 40.
Yeah. And
it's HBO.
Yeah, and it looks, the teaser, it just like brought back a lot of memories. The funniest one was like Fragile. Hey, must be Italian.
The entire trailer is literally just footage of the original film. And then it cuts to like a close up of like Ralphie's eyes and glasses. Yeah. And that was kind of it. And I'm curious. Like, there's a lot of fun vibes. Like, I love the Christmas Story. Like, it's so good. You don't overthink it. It's just like a series of like narrative skits, like little scenes. Like, it's not like a huge thing. It's just fun, and it's very nostalgic. And if they're able to capture that, I don't know how they're gonna do that. Like in a current time, like if they did it during the 80s, maybe, because this film, the original, takes place during what, like the 50s or something, 60s.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It strikes me as a cash grab, especially because we've never heard anything about it until they literally put out the trailer. So I am cautiously optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Me too. We'll see.
I don't know.
And it's going to streaming platforms, so
yeah, that's going to happen soon. HBO Max for the holidays.
Yeah.
We'll review that one. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on. Our last one.
Moving on. Our last one. All Quiet on the Western Front. It's a World War One war movie, period piece. Looks great.
Based on the book?
Yeah, based on the book. Looks great, dude. Like the way it looks amazing.
It looks gorgeous. I had no idea this film was being made. And I'm like, all right, check out the trailer. I'm like, Jesus. And it's horrific World War One type stuff. And the crazy thing, it's all in either German or French, I think. It's a foreign film, essentially, but they put a ton of money and design into, and some of the visuals is like, oh my God, it's like 1917, but like the craziest parts of 1917 for like probably 2 hours straight. Like, it looks nuts. It is not going to be a happy one.
Yeah. I agree. It's funny because these movies don't get made as much as they used to get made, and but when one comes out, you're like, oh yeah, this is my bag. And you just think of like all the crazy shit that they went through, these people, right?
Dude,
for the government, it's crazy.
It's like inhuman conditions that all these humans have to exist in, and then they die. Yeah. You're like, Jesus. Like, there's some crazy shots with like rats running. I'm like, ew. This is gonna be a heavy one, and it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be good.
I hope
it's more of it's gonna be a cautionary tale. It is not a glamorous war film. It is a very ugly war film, and it comes out like in a week from today, which will be a few days after our pod drops. So yeah, October 28th, it's already dropping.
Yeah, I just think like, oh, they're not gonna have somebody in the front be like, mission accomplished.
High five.
Years. High five. Did you ever watch Hacksaw Ridge? That shit was brutal, dude, but it was pretty good. It was a Mel Gibson movie.
Yeah, I did.
With
it's on my list.
I think it's worth a watch.
Is Andrew Garfield?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's worth a watch. It's probably one of my favorite films of him.
Okay.
So he did a great job.
I gotta check it out. But yeah, All Quiet on the Western Front on Netflix. October 28th. They spent some money on this thing. This is like a theater type film. Like, it looks awesome. Boy, yeah.
Yeah.
So that unhappiness hits soon. All right. Moving on. What do we got? What we got next?
All right, man. We got some things on the list, and gonna share with you some scary stuff heading into Halloween, and some things that's not so scary. Yeah. We got Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix. Netflix, October 25th. Man, I'm excited for this. Like, I saw the little featurette, and I can't wait. And if he puts a stamp of approval, I'm good with it. So he must have liked it. I think so. He must have liked the short films.
Are those his ideas, or I don't know? We'll figure it out. But it's gonna be fun. I'm sure he had a good time, and everyone else. It looks really good. Like, visually, they spent some money and some time. So
yeah,
you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with
this.
And
I think it's 2 short stories or short films a day for like 4 days. So
you can shit your pants every day for a week.
Yeah, there you go. I'll let you know, because I know you over here, Mr. Puckerbutt, won't do it. All right, next up, Barbarian, HBO Max. Remember, we just watched the trailer? I'm excited. It's coming up, man. Like, that's going to be a good one.
I'm curious about it. It looked interesting. I don't really know what it's about, except for probably murders in dark places. and Justin Long is in it.
Just do it, bro.
It got good reviews. It got good reviews.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Pump yourself up. Come on.
Yeah. Look at that Rotten Tomato score. Get in there. Yeah, we'll see.
That doesn't have anything to do with it. You live and die by Rotten Tomatoes.
Nah.
Yeah, you do.
We're going to have a whole episode on Rotten Tomatoes. Maybe next week we'll talk about it.
Mr. Paddington. 94.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
High score Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So movie. So.
So Barbarian comes out the same day as Cabinet of Curiosities, but one's on HBO and one's on Netflix. So take your pick, folks.
Yeah. Do them both.
All right. Last one. Last one for new to the list.
All right. Somebody Feed Phil, season 6. Also on Netflix.
Yeah, it's crazy because they just dropped season 5 like a month or two ago after like a 2 or 3 year hiatus because of the pandemic. So because he travels around and shoots food stuff all over the place. And they just dropped a 6th season a couple days ago. I'm pretty sure they shot them both at the same time. But one's in Austin. We started watching that, and it was just barbecue. I was like, oh my God, I love it. Oh man, it was, yeah. If you just need to just stare at some barbecue for an hour, Somebody Feed Phil Austin episode. Oh my God. And then the one thing though they did, and I was a little thrown off, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. It was like they went to this one place where it's upscale Mexican food. I don't know what that food was. It was like, it was out there. Like it was out there. And I don't know if I'd be super into it out of curiosity or if I'd be upset and be like, fuck this out of my face. I don't know where I would be on that.
Out there what way, bro? Because I don't know, like your Mexican card got vetoed last week because you fucking don't eat fucking conchas, yeah. So I don't know if you have like fucking greatest take on Mexican food. Like out there what, like Taco Bell, or out there like authentic, like they fried some ants?
Like neither. Like deconstructed everything. Here's some foam and here's some like
fine dining.
What? It's beyond that. It's like high end, crazy, experimental fine dining. I'm like, oh shit, what is this?
Don't they have a name for that type of cooking? Like
they do, and it's escaping me right now.
Gastronomy? Yeah, gastronomy. I think so.
Yeah. It's like it's out there, and like that in Texas, interesting. But Austin, like, all right. I wasn't into that one, but we're like halfway through the episode, and so far I still love it. So I'm like, let's just keep doing this. And he goes to a couple other countries in this season. I'm trying to remember some of the other. I think he goes to Nashville in this season. I'm like, hell yeah. So we love this show. It's just like a feel good, fun show about food, and he gets into the culture of the area, the people, and it's such a great show. It's like a nice pick me up when you're just kind of want like a nice blanket on the couch. That's all you do. Watch Somebody Feed Phil.
Yeah, you guys got a lot of blankets.
A lot of blankets. All right.
Sounds good. All right,
let's
man.
Move on.
Here we go. Last week we did a fantastic 80s double feature for a scary movie.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna do a 90s horror scary movie double feature.
Yeah. I went first last week, so you can go first this week.
Oh,
I got my 2 picks ready just in case.
Ooh. I just don't know which way. Do I want to go like fun, or do I want to go?
I'm the same thing. There's so many different, because the 90s horror, it switched into like this, and they got smarter, more interesting, more clever. There's like they introduced some funness to it, and they also like upped it in a lot of clever different ways. So I have like 2 that are kind of fit the bill for either of those 2. So I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
Damn. Should I go with I think I'm gonna go with the one that I've watched the most.
Okay.
All right. So the one I've watched the most, but I have 4 written down. But the one I watched the most is From Dusk Till Dawn. So so that's my horror movie for the 90s.
All right.
Yeah, I love that movie. Starring I think it was George Clooney's big break, and it co-starred Quentin Tarantino and it was directed by Robert Rodriguez partially, and Quentin directed a couple of scenes, and it's got a great cast, some fun stuff, and like the first half of the movie is more psychological, and then the second part is more like B zombie vampire movie.
Yeah,
and it has one of the most iconic dance sequences of all time. Shot on film.
What's her name? What was her name in the movie? Like,
her name, her character name.
Yeah, it was
something
like
satanico,
satanica, or some shit.
Satanico, yeah, with an O. I don't know why with an O, but yeah, it was an O. Yeah, but a small upcoming actress named Salma Hayek. She's kind of attractive. She's a little attractive. Just a little bit attractive.
Yeah, but got a little hot in the theater watching that one. Everyone was just kind of sitting there.
Yeah. Never mind the big giant yellow snake crawling down her skin. I remember,
it was pretty wild.
I mean, like, in my head, I'm like, how thirsty do I want to get? Because I remember she poured the beer or the wine down her leg, and then she was making like drink it off her toes. Yeah.
And thus
and I was like, yeah, Quentin, get it. Get it, Quentin. And then the big turn reveal. Oh, man, it was crazy.
That movie was wild. Yeah. They turned to like 11 at one point in that film. And, man, I remember watching this film when I was younger. I was so excited. I was like, Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino making a vampire. Like, oh my God. Yeah. I was so excited. And Selma Hayek's going to be in it. Like, oh my God. What's trippy when I was younger watching it, like the first half, which is like the road psychological half, I didn't like it as much. I was like, get to the fucking killing. And then you get to when you first your introduction to the killing.
But it's actually scarier.
That
first half is scarier.
It's kind of, it's insane when you start breaking it down.
Yeah.
And then
super cringy.
As an adult, I kind of enjoy the first half. Like a decade later, I enjoy the first half more than I enjoy the second half.
Yeah.
Like the second half is like, I don't want to say predictable, but it's like fairly formulaic. You know what's going to happen, but it's fun. But the first half, but the first half is like, you don't know what's going to happen. And when things happen, you're just like, oh God.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's two different films, kind of like two different stylistically films. And it's super enjoyable.
Yeah. So that's my pick.
Was Juliette Lewis? Was she the daughter? Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's and I think
Harvey Keitel was the dad.
Yeah. It's wild. And that whole film is just a trip. And then Cheech Marin, oh man, he has like two roles. And they're both fucking pretty memorable for different reasons. And that's a good pick. All right, I'm gonna try to match that energy. I can't match that energy. It's its own thing, man. I mean, I could, but my two don't really match that. I'll give you my number one pick because it's kind of Scream. That movie was so different and unexpected in a different horror. It's like a total spin on like a classic Halloween style horror film. And it was like graphic and nuts, and it kind of kept you guessing. And the surprises were a surprise. And to the very end, you're like, holy shit. And then it just kind of keeps going. And it's like taking the teen slasher film to a whole new level. And it was like, it started off like a whole new genre of like teen slasher, clever, well thought out. Like, and it's grounded. Like this was a bit more grounded in reality now. Like a Michael Myers who just is like this force of like mystic nature trying to come at you. So this is like made it even more scary because this is like a grounded people doing this thing to each other. And then introduced like Rose McGowan. I think this was her first role, and she goes on to be do a lot of stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
Great cast. Skeet Ulrich, I can think his first big role, and he was a thing for a little while. Nev Campbell, I think one of her first big screen features. And it was just cool, man. Like this movie is like, it's super rewatchable. And Scream, like everyone talked about it. It was a thing. It made a lot of money, and it had like 4 or 5 sequels. Which I've seen a couple of them. I heard there's a new one. Haven't seen it yet, but very curious about it.
It's pretty good.
And it's
the new one's good.
Yeah, I want to check it out. Maybe I'll do that soon. But yeah, Scream would be my pick.
I mean, it's only Halloween, bro. So I don't know.
What's your relationship with Scream?
I'm with you, man. It was kind of like I wasn't like, to be honest, I wasn't expecting much just because of like, I'm like, okay, these kids throw parties, they're gonna get killed, kind of thing. But then I like the whole thing of what's the kid that breaks it all down? Seth Green? Is that his name?
No.
Is that
Matthew Lillard?
No.
Matthew.
Remember the one that gives you all the rules, or was it Jamie Kennedy?
Oh, Jamie Kennedy. Yes.
I love that part. It's like, oh, whatever you do, don't have sex and like this and that. That was really cool, man. That was like, I'm like, that was different. And and then the whole Drew Barrymore beginning sequence.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
They did something different because they took like a big actress, Drew Barrymore, and the first scene they fucking murder her.
Yeah.
We're just like, whoa.
Yeah, and I like the whole, I don't know. I guess the guy that in the mask guy, the anonymity of it, the whole thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, who is it?
Yeah.
Who is it? And then like when the twist, I'm sure everybody's seen it right now, but the twist of like, oh, there's two of them. You're like, oh shit, that's fucking cool. Instead of being one guy that like a la Jason or Michael Myers, oh, he won't go down and it doesn't make sense. Now it kind of makes sense. Oh, there was two of them. That's why he keeps popping up. And
that's why you can't figure it out. Yeah. Simple. But I'm like, it totally works. Like, it's such a fun, enjoyable. The tone and the pacing, it's great. And like the kids are just as dumb as you would think they would do. Like, let's throw a party. Like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah. It's like that Geico commercial where they're like, these people are being chased and they're like, where are we gonna hide? Do we go back to the house? Blah blah blah. Do we go into the garage with all the sharp knives,
sharp objects?
And then the girl's like, why don't we go into the running car? And then they're like, no, let's go here. Somewhere else that's horrible. And they're like, yeah, let's go there.
That commercial is awesome. Even the serial killer's looking at him like, you idiots. Are you being serious?
Yeah, I'm coming back. Yeah. So man, great pick.
Yeah, you too. What was your backup pick?
Oh, I'm just gonna give you the ones I wrote. So I knew you were even gonna pick Scream, so I didn't want to pick Scream. But I thought the second one you were gonna pick was gonna be Silence of the Lambs. Okay. And then the other two that I had written down, so I had From Dusk Till Dawn, Scream, Silence, then I had Misery and Faculty.
Oh, so I didn't like the Faculty very much. Faculty was kind of a letdown.
I think it aged better than you think. I'm going to watch it right now, actually, after we're done. I already told Matthew.
Oh, cool.
We're going to watch it. What'd you have? What was your second one?
My second one was The Frighteners. Michael J. Fox starring.
Yeah, that's a good
Peter
one.
Jackson directing. I think this is the first Peter Jackson film I saw in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
And like this film was like, so shockingly, like it was like different energy, different vibes, because it was like a New Zealand director doing like American horror. And the effects were like really well thought out. And like, damn, this is a trip. The idea of it was a trip.
Yeah.
And there was some frightening stuff. And it got like, there was a little comedy mixed in. It was Michael J. Fox. So I'm like, what? And it's unexpected and a great cast and crazy shit keeps happening. And it just opens up this whole world of like ghosts in a different way. And this film was just really cool. And we started watching it the other day and like, some of the effects have not aged well. Like, of course, computer graphics have come like leaps and bounds. But this film also, I think, I could be wrong, but this is like the one when Weta Digital, Peter Jackson's company, like his first big jump into like doing lots of digital stuff, and they're just kind of getting their toes into that whole digital water, and that allowed them to make Lord of the Rings not too long after this. And you can see some of like the Wraith designs in the early influences of this film going to Lord of the Rings. But that's The Frighteners, and it's available on Peacock right now. So if you guys got that, check out The Frighteners. It's cool. But after you watch Scream and Dusk Till Dawn.
Sounds good. All right.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. I think that's our show right there.
It is.
Any final thoughts? Any gripes, complaints?
No, I'm gonna try to get in some horror ish
Yeah,
films
bro.
like Sleepy Hollow. Does Sleepy Hollow count?
Does it? I don't know.
That's not really jump scares, but it's got a great tone. Love the tone.
Yeah, but it's more like a boredom fest. But watch something you haven't watched.
Yeah.
There's one on Peacock. Recommend just for you. Don't breathe.
Don't breathe. All right.
It's not.
Wait, I've seen it. I see most of it.
The first one.
Yeah.
With Lang.
The dude from Avatar.
Oh,
it's cool. Movie. It's really cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no ghosties and no fake stuff. It's just him. Yeah. But anyways, all right. So you watch most of it. Cool. All right.
Sign us off, dude.
All right. Well, that's our show. Thanks for listening, everybody. Please like and subscribe. Leave comments, recommendations, anything we missed. Like always, I'm Francisco.
I'm Andres.
Have a great week.